order against me. And I had to leave the house with Aya because in the court order it said Latoya, has to leave the house, and because he's fearful for his life. Because at this point, I did put a GPS tracking device on his car because I felt like I wanted to know where you were at, what you were doing, so I had something on you to use in court. I purchased the gun for protection from outside because I don't know if you guys have Ring, but around our area, they always had like people breaking in, burglaries, robberies, you name it. And I said, you know what, Adam, we need to get a gun. I even showed him the gun. I said, Adam, I purchased the gun and this is for the protection of our family, is what I said, And so it's not like I hid the fact that I had a gun. I showed him the gun the day that I purchased it. And he was like, the next day he was like, I'm calling the police. I'm like, okay, why? He was like, because you bought a gun illegally. I'm like, no, I went to the store and I had to go through all this documentation. It took weeks for me to actually go and pick up the gun because I'm a permanent resident of the United States of America. So it took some time for them to, run my history, my background checks, see if I have a criminal record.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are talking to you guys about Latoya Forever and also Adam Ali. Guys, it's got tasty, it's got real, and as the title says, guns, GPS trackers, and hella cheating. Guys, this is extraordinaire today, and I want to break some stuff down and just break down some of what we saw in Latoya's videos. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of what up, loads. And for those of you who are returnees, you got the minerals, stay hydrated. All right, cool. So let's talk quickly as well. I've been spending the last few hours just kind of going through Latoya's videos, went through Adam's videos that they put up just today as well. Or yesterday and today. And it was quite a lot that was coming out, right? Now, I've just quickly, this is a quick reaction video. I've put the clips from part 1 and part 2 of her video, and I brought a little bit of his live as well into the scenario just to pinpoint some of the point factors that were put out there. My initial reaction and thoughts are, I love Latoya, first of all. I love Latoya, but it sounds like she's carrying some narcissistic vibes. We've been talking all past week and last 2 weeks about the narcissistic men, and I'm starting, I think, to see some narcissistic vibe with Latoya, right? The mere fact that you just saw in that clip that she could happily admit buying a GPS tracker. There is no emotion in what she says. Listen to what she said it. Buying a GPS tracker to put in his car to purposely try and get information to use against him in court is only one of premeditated behaviors. I will show you a clip where she spoke about cheating, but when she spoke about her several instances of cheating, she lodged it in a complaint about how he had strangled her. So instead of telling us separately that she had cheated on him, she actually told us a story about how, oh yeah, I did cheat on him, but I want to let you know, obviously the story was that, he strangled me, and it's like, okay, wait, no, they're separate, darling. Even if it's the same night, it's separate. His strangling of you, per se, allegation, did not lead you to cheat. You cheated on more than one occasion. And then, so you've done it several times, and he's taking you back several times. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why does he keep taking you back? Why do you keep going back? We hear that coming through. You hear her also slightly kind of trounce him as well about trying to get onto RHOA. At one point saying about he's broke, or not even broke, but she said obviously he came from brokenness. So why is he complaining about her? Trying to start the show and etc. etc. And this is a few things, just the way that she's acting about this whole scenario, very calm and very serene. Not only that, the interview itself is problematic. How do you have an interview and the interviewer is giving you leading questions? So we don't get to see any of the build up to any of these questions. There is no follow-ups for these questions either. They're just very boom, 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 boom. A bit like as if somebody fed the interviewer all the questions to ask. Right? So the interviewer is asking questions like, oh, so when did he abuse you? Whoa. How do we get there? Give us, how do you get there? Where's the conversation before that? We don't see any of that. So we don't hear any conversation. Suddenly he's an abuser. Okay, suddenly he cheat. When did he? And the funny thing is, the interviewer asks, okay, when did he cheat on? When did he cheat? Like, I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Oh, I don't know if he's actually fully cheated. It's like the interviewer had just went straight into these questions without giving us any leading questions into this particular thing. And for me, that's sus. Maybe that's where she edited it, but that's a bit sus, that you are really trying to paint a certain narrative and you're trying to get people to be on a certain wavelength on the way you're thinking. So we have a gun that you went and bought that you said is for the protection of the home, but you've been in that home for a little while and now suddenly you want a gun. It does seem a bit suspect. In fact, if this was a man doing this, if this was a man who went out and bought a gun after he had put a GPS tracker in his wife's car, we would be blowing out the set. This is why I've done a separate video for this. If this was a man who had put a GPS tracker in his wife's car, that would be a problem already as it is, then went out and bought a gun on the pretense that obviously it's for the protection of the family, we would be up in ruckus because we know what can happen. So I absolutely understand it, why he put a restraining order against her. The safety could have been in question. Absolutely. And if it was a woman doing it, we would have no problems. The safety is definitely in question. Definitely in question. Definitely in question. But we're gonna play some parts of the clip. I'm gonna go back a little bit, just get to the GPS tracker part, and then we're gonna just kind of do a few points from there, and I'll just brace this as well.
You know, burglaries, robberies, you name it. And I said, you know what?
Oh, sorry, let's go back a little bit
Like
further.
all of us. What do you mean you don't care about legacy building? What are you talking about? You don't care about making money. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This is a life-changing opportunity, not only for me.
Let me pause it here. I can't address this on this particular video. We'll have to do it another time so I can get the clips for you. But on this particular part where she says, oh, it's legacy building, it's a legacy this for that. What do you mean you don't care about legacy? It's not just a great opportunity just for me. When she presented this particular aspect of going on RHOA, you will hear her say it wasn't about them. It was about he was blocking her. So what's this legacy stuff we're talking about? The legacy isn't for him. It's a legacy for you. But you watch how she switches it now to being, oh, the legacy is about us. It's about you. It's never been about us. It's about you, darling. That's what legacy is about. That's what the TV deal was all about. It was never about the team. It was about her. Right? There's a lot of selfish ambition that goes on this particular video. But we'll address that another time, because I think there's another time we'll have to address that for you.
For all of us. He got angry to the point where Adam put a restraining order against me. And I had to leave the house with Aya because in the court order it said, Latoya, you know, has to leave the house, and because he's fearful for his life. Because at this point, I did put a GPS tracking device on his car.
Now I want you to pay attention. How calm is she saying this? Does she not realize this is mad? No, real spit, no play. Does she not realize this is the level of madness? For you to go out there, out of your way, to go and put a GPS tracker in his car. So you know what I mean? You'd have to get into his car first of all, or even put it underneath the car, whichever. Like this is MI6 or something, yeah? Ghost Recon, yeah, you've gone and put a GPS tracker, you've gone and bought one, you've had time to think about this, you went and bought one and put it in your husband's car. What was the reason why you did that? Just deep what she's going to say. This is why I said there's a level of narcissism. Deep what she's about to say, just deep it, right?
Because I felt like I wanted to know where you were at, what you were doing, so I had something on you to use in court.
That is your reason why? Not because he's done something wrong, not because he's done something bad. You are hoping to get evidence, not on a hunch, but the hope that he would do something that you could use in court to get your own way. Do you know how manipulative? Do you know how disgusting that is? No, you guys know me. I keep it 100 raw on this channel. I come at the men all the time. I came at Derek the same way. I came at Kevin the same way. I came at Quavo all the same way with the gaslighting stuff. Not the elevator stuff. I find it despicable when people are manipulative in this way. You've gone at Latoya, and I like Latoya, but you've gone out your way to buy a GPS tracker to manipulate the courts to get something like what maybe he was cheating or something, right? And to throw that in his face, okay, that he's doing something, and then on his particular channel, he actually expressed that there was a private investigator also involved, right? But I want to stick to her particular narrative. So she's done all of that with a hope, because I can believe that, because what would a GPS tracker prove? It only proves where he went to. It doesn't prove anything. Do you know what I mean? So the GPS tracker wasn't for her just to prove where he's going to. She would have had somebody following that, right? To see what he was doing and get some evidence that would be negative against him to use in a court to fight her battles, right? There's a high level of manipulation in this. And look at the smile on her face. There is no remorse, no empathy, no regret in terms of what she does. There's none of it on her. She's actually almost celebratory of her own. I did that. Yeah, I did that. I did that. Yeah. That in itself should let you know there's something not quite right. Something's not quite right about this whole story.
Just the gun for protection from outside, because I don't know if you guys have Ring, but around our area, they always had like people breaking in, burglaries, robberies, you name it. And I said, you know what, Adam, we need to get a gun. I even showed him the gun. I said, Adam, I purchased the gun, and this is for the protection of our family, is what I said, And so
now I want you to imagine and put yourself in the shoes of Adam at this particular moment. If you find out in your car right now that you have a GPS tracker in there and your husband's just bought a gun and you're going through problems, tell me you're not going to think about something. Now in UK, we don't have guns, so you're not allowed to carry a gun like that. So it might be way different for us in the UK. We'll be triggered differently. But you're telling me you wouldn't be feeling some type of way? You're telling me you wouldn't be feeling some type of way? That something's not quite right? So of course he's going to put a restraining order on her.
It's not like I hid the fact that I had a gun. I showed him the gun the day that I purchased it. And he was like, the next day he was like, I'm calling the police. I'm like, okay, why? He was like, because you bought a gun illegally. I'm like, no, I went to the store and I had to go through all this documentation. It took weeks for me to actually go and pick up the gun because I'm a permanent resident of the United States.
Now, just to give you a little perspective as well, she's gone and bought this gun, and she's saying that obviously he's going to call the police because she's bought a gun illegally. But the actual end result of what she admits to, what he called for, was because he felt his life was threatened. So the point here about a legal gun was not his particular problem. His problem here was that this woman here has gone out and bought a gun, and then tried to put it under a pretense, for him anyway, under a pretense of protecting the family from intruders if they come one day, right? And so right now, things for him in his head, alarm bells must be ringing.
States of America. So it took some time for them to, run my history, my background checks, see if I have a criminal record. I'm 100% clean. And when they went through that process, I was able to pick up the gun that I purchased. And I told him that. And so he thought that you needed a gun license. You need a gun license to actually physically carry your gun outside. You don't need a gun license to have a gun in your home. And so I explained that to him, and he said, okay. He knew where the gun was and everything. It's not like I tried to hide this gun from him.
But that's not why he filed the report, is it? He didn't file a report because of the gun was being illegal. As you said yourself, he files the gun report because he feared for his life. He's not filing it because you got an illegal gun. He's filing it because he's scared of what you can do. Do you understand? Like, so the gun being illegal wasn't the issue. The issue is that he feared for his life. Notice she doesn't speak to anything about that. She made the point that the reason why he made a restraining order is because he feared for his life. She made that point. And then she doesn't address the fact that he was scared for his life. Only she thinks she addresses that the gun was illegal.
I said, listen, we've been in America for all these years and you still haven't purchased a gun to protect our family. Say if we get broken into and, you know, our home gets broken into and we have no protection at all. But Adam put in the court order how I hired a hitman. I put a GPS device on his...
Just to pause there, where she says hitman, he actually said in his particular live that she hired a private investigator. And that's what he said, a private investigator to find out what she was doing, right? So it's slightly different to the two, right? Because he's not filing for a hitman, he's filing for the fact that she had a gun, right? Just making it very, very clear, right? The facts that have been split by both of them.
Car, you know, I bought a gun. I had to leave the house with Aya because Aya wasn't in the court order because he couldn't handle Aya at the time. So you're telling me that your life is in danger, your kids' lives are in danger, Zayn and Samia, but Aya's life isn't in danger.
He actually addressed this in his particular live, and he said obviously the reason why he didn't allow Aya is because he wanted Aya to look. He wanted Aya to be with her because the kid was too young. Now I don't really understand that too as well. I don't know what the thinking is behind that, but I do understand that obviously when you fear for your life, you know, you might have vacated the kids per se in total, because obviously you might think to yourself she'll keep the kids safe. So I guess obviously in his mind he's thinking, and I'm not saying it's right either because I'm trying to think how he's thinking. I'm not sure why. In his head he must be thinking she won't do anything to the kids, but she'll do something to me, in a sense of like her anger's directed at me, no one else. But I guess that for me too was a little bit odd, a little bit shocking, especially with the conversation around Aya, the fact that on his live he kind of made it out to seem as if potentially Aya might not be his just because she was fooling around about the same time. And then he was like saying and then she was obviously saying as well that, you know, Aya stayed with her, and then obviously, you know, it kind of just puts us a whole picture of, you know, maybe Aya might not be his per se, you know what I'm saying? But that's another video we can do another time.
Clearly, I'm not a threat. But he had to drop that restraining order because the restraining order, like the, what are they called? The sheriffs, they were looking for me every week, coming to the house, seeing if I'm there, you know, trying to serve me with restraining order papers. And I was never there. I was living in hotel rooms with my mom and Aya. You know, my mom was my support during that time. But then I said, you know what? I'm going back home. And if they serve me with these papers, they just serve me. And so Adam and I, we were on the same page. We said, you know, if the police come to the door looking for me, then he'll say that I'm not there. And he said the only way he will drop the restraining order is if we sign off on the settlement based on his terms, you know?
No, if he did that, it's a little bit cheeky. If he did do that, it's a little bit cheeky. Now I know they both have a conversation around this issue about what the terms or the conditions are going to be in terms of separation. On his particular live, he addresses the fact that that they did have a conversation around the separation terms. You know, which obviously for him, he wanted. He didn't say exactly what he wanted, but he said obviously he's made some claims to what he wants, whatever. So we're not sure 100% if this is 100% what she's saying true or false. I would say, listen, we take it on as it is, and we move on, because we can't really say yes or no. He didn't really fully address it the way it needs to be addressed to be able to say yes or no.
And at the time, I was okay with that because I just wanted to be with my children. You know, I didn't want to be in hotel hopping with a baby and my mom, you know? So I went back to the house, and one day I heard pounding on the door, and Adam wasn't home. And I was like, did he set me up? Like, there were
It's really interesting because she says, obviously, did Adam set her up that the police will come and collect her? And at the same time, on his video, he's also talking about the fact that he felt like he was going to be set up as well. So both of these people felt like they were going to be set up. It's quite interesting. I wonder who's feeding them information as to why they felt like they might be set up.
8 cops, big, huge cops, pounding on my door. And I immediately went to a hiding place. I didn't tell my mom where I went. I didn't tell anyone where I went. I just went into that place and I just stood there. And I thought that, Adam stood me up. I even saw the light in the room where they were trying to find me. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm totally going to jail. Oh my God, like I'm so fearful. I don't know what's going to happen. And come to find out, somebody called the police and said that Adam is holding me against my will.
Now, it's pretty interesting that the police got called, and the story is that now, again, she's the victim. And I want you to notice the pattern. If you watch her particular video in this whole entire 2-part series, she consistently becomes the victim. Something has happened to her. Now, am I saying that she's lying? No, I'm not saying that 100% she's lying, but I also don't believe there's absolute truth. And like I said, if there is narcissistic tendencies, that is a perfect way to try and drive an image to the audience that she was a victim and something happened to her. But from what we're hearing, she's doing stuff to him. Like, she's done stuff, right? She's done stuff which is crazy. And so I think it's quite interesting that she's flipping it again. Even a story, the police did come eventually, and they thought obviously that, he was holding me hostage again. So in the viewer's mind, all you're hearing is these negative parts of what he's done or what he is to her, and so you kind of almost buy into the story. But when you listen to it objectively, it's not making full sense. But you can see that how someone can try and craft a narrative and a story.
Right? So they were actually looking for me. They thought that I was dead. They thought that I was harmed because my car was there, my purse was there, but I wasn't there. And so the next...
And how the hell do they know your purse weren't there if your purse is indoors? You know what I'm saying? Like, how would they know that? Huh? How would they know that? Please tell me how they know that.
Next day, that's when Adam decided to drop the restraining order because, dude, your life is not in danger. Like, I don't scare you. You made up this whole lie. And he dropped the restraining order.
Do you think that he was calling the police to try and tarnish your character? Or do you think he was calling the police because he was scared of you?
I think that he called the police.
And just to pause before she answers as well, again, this is what we're talking about, leading question. But at least this particular one, there's a flow on. We see a flow of conversation before it gets to that point. But in some of the other parts of it, the interviewer is asking random questions and throwing in their suppositions, like just throwing it in there. And it's like, yo, how do we get there? So on this particular case, she hasn't done it as harsh, but on the other one, she just throws a person who's talking, just throws these questions
Police to build a case against me in this whole divorce process, but I can also put myself in his shoes and say, this girl bought a gun. Mm-hmm. She put a GPS device on my car, and her cousin is here trying to convince me to sign off on paper. So I can totally understand his point of view.
What was the...
And that's precisely what I'm talking about. I'm glad she admitted it. Doesn't mean anything because, like I said, we saw Derek Jackson that he can admit stuff. So obviously, she admits to the fact that yes, it can look like it's crazy because obviously, she bought a gun. She's the situation in terms of their children and stuff as well. And so it's like, like she can see this, like the GPS tracker, the gun, the children, like she can see that this is looking mad and why he would do what he did. So it's like, if you can see that, sis, do better. How is it that we're putting GPS trackers in a man's car, fam? Just to get some evidence? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how are we allowing ourselves to do that, man? And so I do feel for her. Like, I feel for any woman who's maybe in a situation that's abusive, but this doesn't sound like it. This doesn't sound like it. I want to play his last little bit as well. Let me get his last clip, and then we'll move into the cheating part. I think there's an important part here where she speaks about something.
Mother of the children. It would have been easier.
So it's where she addresses
Home is our marital home. It's the family home. It's the home where the children, you know, are growing up in. And I feel like Adam should have been the one to leave. You know, I'm the mother of the children. It would have been.
Pause. Why does she think that he should leave the yard? This is for anybody as well, as a lady as well. Why do you think he should leave the yard? Why do you think that? Why do you think he should leave the yard? Right? If you're both contributing, paying the bills here, why do you think he should leave the yard? Someone should leave, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying someone should leave, but why do you think he should leave the yard? Oh, it's a manly thing to do. Where do you think I should go to then? Do you know what I mean? Like, yo, brother, like, this is our home. Someone's got to figure it out. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying either's right. I'm just kind of just giving that point of view where it's not straightforward as, oh, he's just moved out the house because, you know, I'm the mother of the and he's the father. Why does the mother get any more special treatment than the father? Come on now. Let's deal with that properly, man.
Easier for him to leave, but since Adam has so much pride and at the end of the day, I wanted the divorce, he thought that I should be the person to leave. And so I left. The children now are so much more comfortable. At first, it was rough.
So obviously she ended up leaving, which we saw in the vlogs as well, her doing videos. Another thing I haven't really spoke about actually is the context of this video. It is not on her channel. The video is actually on her and Von's channel. That for me is concerning, you know, because you have your own channel. So and your own channel was yourself. I think I can't remember your daughter's name. I think it might be. You have your own channel where you were doing your vlogging. Why is it that you're addressing your divorce? This is why I said narcissistic. This reminds me of the same move Derek Jackson does outside of the home of his girlfriend, of his little girlfriends that he does, right? Taking a video outside the girl's house. This is very similar. Taking an absolute video to address divorce on the man's account, which you're going out with. That concerns me. That seems like one of those moves as a shot in the dark for the other person. It seems very manipulative, right? Because this guy's got nothing to do with your divorce. So this video shouldn't be on his channel. But you know the kind of traction it's going. Like, she's thinking business again. This is where we're crossing the line of business and crossing personal. How is it that you've put on his channel, which is both yours, by the way, basically, but you addressing something that's got nothing to do with him, divorce, with his channel? Are we begging for views that much? We're going to use his channel to do that? Come on. Like, that's weird, bro. Weird. That's mad weird. Do you know what I mean? So there's some other things we need to address, because she speaks about rape as well, potentially that he raped her as well. I'm telling you, there's some real, you know, things that she addresses that are problematic out here. Let me just take this a little bit back and video.
It just got toxic from there.
Did he ever cheat on you?
It's funny how the interviewer also asked her, did he ever cheat on you, before she asked, did she cheat on him? It's funny how the interviewer asked that question, isn't it? Right? Listen to her answer. Not
that I'm aware of.
If you're not aware, sis, then why don't pursue the question.
But should I talk about this?
Girl, you already know the questions. You knew the questions were coming. Should I talk about this? You're not going to fool me with that acting. No, I can't. Should I talk about this? Sis, you heard the question. You started talking. Should I talk about this? Who are you even asking to drop that question? That answer, sorry. Who? Like, I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. You know, the cart is empty on this side, okay? My basket's empty on this side. I cannot believe that, you know, as she said, should I answer this question? What do you mean? Since you already know the questions. All the questions are geared toward, like, oh, has he ever cheated on you? Where was the lead-up question? Listen, if you go before this, there's no lead-up question towards this. It's just suddenly straight into this question.
A few years ago, I went through Adam's phone, and I saw him texting a girl.
Going through people's phone as well. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, listen, don't get twisted. Going through his phone, right? Why was she going through his phone in the first place? I'm not saying that people don't go through someone without suspicion. She hasn't mentioned that she had suspicion. She just said she was going through his phone. All right. And now Adam's a very calculating, analytical kind of guy. If you look at the way he behaves, to leave text messages. Remember what her opening sentence was. No. I want you to deep this. Yes, deep this. Yeah. Her opening sentence to the question was, "Not that I know of," right? But watch what she's about to say. Watch what she's about to say.
Inappropriately. And I saved her number in my phone. And in 2019, while I was pregnant with Aya, I saw messages from a weird name. And so I opened it up and I started reading messages, and he was trying to take this girl to Cabo while I was pregnant. And how I found out it was,
I mean, there could be some truth to this. You know what I'm saying? There could be some truth to this. I'm not gonna discount it. There could be some truth to this because men are mad.
the same girl. Is I went in my phone, I put the number in my phone, and her number was still saved in my contacts. So that's how I knew that you were communicating with this girl. And now you're trying to take her on a trip in 2019 while I was pregnant.
Has he ever put his hands on you?
Do you see what I'm saying? How did we see? How did we go from? Yeah, no. What? How do we go from going from? Did he cheat on you? So there's a very systematic way of they're going about this. It's almost to drag his name through the mud. Listen, I am never here for the man them usually. You know this already. Like, when the man them move mad, I tell them they're moving mad. When the girl them move mad, I got to tell them they're moving mad. We've gone from, oh, did he cheat on you? Right? There was no setup question before that. Straight into that. And now, all of a sudden, we flowed straight into, so did he ever put his hands on you? Where is the flow of conversation going to that we got straight to that point? Which means the questions are already preloaded. Which means you loaded them. Because the interviewer doesn't know all this stuff. You've preloaded them. Right? You've preloaded them and given it to the interviewer to ask this question, which is why I don't buy some of your reactions like, should I talk about this? Like, then you're acting. And if you're acting about that, what else are you acting about? And I put this in my other video, that she's stuck in the mode of acting and she can't come out of it. You know, when actors get stuck in their roles and they become that character in real life, she's stuck in it. That's why they have debriefs, right?
Do we have to talk about that?
See how, and so it's very cleverly designed to give us that pause. Look, this is the equivalent of a dramatic pause. Now, am I going to say that he's never put his hands on her? I definitely know he put his hands on her. Let's absolute. He definitely put some type of hands on her. Let's keep it 100 true. In his particular life, he said there was a hustle and a tussle. You want to fight? You want to tussle? Like, listen, there was a hustle and a tussle, which means there was hands on each other. It may be on each other, but definitely something happened, right? Because he didn't fully address it. He said there was a hustle and a tussle, and then kind of badged over it, which told me there was something that you didn't want to tell us, bro. Like, let's keep 100 real. Let's not lie about it. You had some hands on that, bro. Yeah.
So I went on a boat cruise. And
now I want you to pay attention to this so well, because the question is so shady with the answer. Now the question is about whether she has whether hands have been put on her, right? And I believe this is purposely put across to make you miss what you're about to hear, because abuse physically versus cheating are not in the same league. You can go to prison for one of those. The other one you can't. One's a moralistic aspect and one's another one which is civil law. You know, so when it comes to this issue, the abuse trumps the cheating. So if I put a story where I'm saying, oh, but you know what, I got cheated on. If I got cheated on, but I was beaten up by my partner, everyone's going to run to the beaten up by my partner before the cheating, because of how the levels in terms of gravity of behavior. So watch what's going to happen now. Pay attention. It's very important. It's manipulation. Watch this.
I cheated on Adam. I got physical with a male. We didn't have intercourse at all, but when I got back from the cruise, Adam found out about it. When I walked in the house, I saw him sitting on the couch, and he just looked like irate. He looked like he just looked crazy, and it kind of scared me because I was like, what's going on here? You know, because I didn't think that he would know what I was doing on a cruise in the middle of the ocean. So I went upstairs and I went to bed because I was tired. And when I went to bed, he came in the room and he turned on the light and he grabbed my legs and pulled me, like drug me off the bed. He picked me up, shoved me against the wall, and he started to like choke me. And the kids ran into the room. They started crying, you know, they were saying, "Daddy, take your hands off mommy. What are you doing? You're hurting mommy." And then he took my phone, he smashed it. And at this point, I was so scared. I was terrified. I literally thought I was gonna die that day. I ran out the house, and I was going to like the neighbors' homes and trying to figure out, okay, I need to call somebody. And the first person I thought to call was my Auntie Jillian. Now, people would expect you to call the police, but I would never call the police on a black man. And knowing our status in this country, we are green card holders, you can literally get deported.
Sorry about that. I had my noise off. Sorry, what I just said was basically similar enough, obviously, to how obviously with you know, she spoke about you know, abusers do go through these situations where they can have a scenario where not even scenarios, a lot of times abusers will try to think about the consequences that will happen to their abuser, especially if they know them and won't want them to be caught up in any madness or shenanigans, or, you know, get arrested like that because it affects their abuser and they know the abuser. So I understand that viewpoint. My other side of things is, whilst I believe that's also true, it can also be that someone who's clever enough and manipulative enough knows how to play that role and that card perfectly, right? And when she said, obviously saying, you know, a black man don't want to go into prison, etc., right? Like, he didn't care when he saw a gun. He didn't care. He didn't play by the same rules at all, right? When he saw the gun, he said, my life could be in full on danger here, right? So he didn't play that loyalty game with you. But it's possible, it is possible that she played that loyalty game with him. And most importantly, you know, just listening to her story, I want you to pay attention to the next few parts. But what I was saying in a sense was that, you know, the cheating got lodged underneath the abuse. So you now miss it, but she's going to address it in a few seconds. She's going to address it in a few seconds. I think it comes up. Let me see if I can speed up.
So I was thinking about his future and not thinking about myself, although I should have called. And a few minutes later, I see Adam and Zayn and Samia walking towards me.
Sorry, I think it's a little bit later on here.
We moved past that.
Was that the only time that you ever cheated on him?
No.
I mean...
Listen, serial cheaters, yeah? That Derek Jackson live. Do you see, see what I'm saying? Like, so when you add up a lot of this stuff, yeah, you're already confused. I'm gonna let the clip play in a second. I'm just bringing this to your attention. So this is not the first time she cheated, right? Not the first time she cheated. Where's the remorse? Where's the guilt? Where's the regret? Sorry, you know, where's the learns? Let's go.
In my mind,
pay attention, because she's about to mansplain this. She's about to rationalize what cheating is. She's about to rationalize that cheating's moving mad. She's about to rationalize it. But when obviously when she thought old boy was cheating, right? Oh, he was going to take a girl to Cabo in 2019. She knew what cheating was then. But look how she's about to rationalize it. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's saying, right?
I didn't really look at Adam as a husband. Like, I just looked at him as my business partner, and we were
a business manager who you having kids with. A business manager who you're having sex with. A business manager who you're asking to buy a gun for so you can protect the family. Right? That's the business manager you're talking about, right? That's the business manager you're talking about who obviously filed a restraining order against you. That's the business manager you're talking about. That's the business manager you're talking about when you think about legacy that you want to build going on RHOA. That's just a business manager, right? And she does this on more than one occasion. It's very similar to how Derek Jackson does third person, putting himself out of the cage. She does this with Adam. So instead of making herself third person, she makes Adam no longer Adam and makes Adam her business manager. There's another clip I'll show you guys in a second where she's speaking about how she feels like he's earned enough from her, and when it comes to the divorce, we'll speak about it in a second. I'll show you.
We're forced into getting married, that doesn't give me the right to go out there and, talk to other men. But at the end of the day,
Listen to what she said. Listen to what she said. I always tell you guys, an apology that has butt in, it's not an apology. Yeah, it's not an apology. When you go and say, okay, you know what, I didn't see him as my husband. I saw him as my business manager. I then, cheated. And I know it's not right. It's not wrong. I know it's not right. But at the end of the day, whoa, why are we going back into it, fam? You don't need to say what back at the end of the day.
I didn't feel like connected to him at all.
It doesn't matter whether you feel connected or not. It didn't matter if you felt connected or not. You have moved mad.
I just felt like, as I said multiple times, I felt like we were just great business partners as opposed to love partners.
Was he ever abusive before that incident, emotionally or mentally?
And let's not, before she answers that question, let's not do that. See, let's not do that. Because if I remember correctly, for some of the vlogs, were you not dashing orange juice at man's head top? Were you not throwing drinks at his head top? Have we not seen you slap him a few times? Maybe not too aggressively, maybe not, but have we not seen it on your vlogs? Right? Have you not seen you go to his workplace, cause a storm and a madness, and cause him issues at workplace to emotionally manipulate? Have you not seen that? You can't chat bad and not be thinking about what you've also done. Like, I don't like the wickedest skank. Like, you've gone in there like you're not a part of this process. Like do you know what I mean? Right? It's kind of mad. Let me let her land.
Yes, he was emotionally and mentally, abusive. I remember, one time.
This needs a violin. I'm just going to be honest with you. This needs a violin behind it, because you're now trying to sell us a story. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's free and away from the fact that he may have done some things. I'm not trying to tell you that. But there's an intentional selling of this. To you to make it fit a certain narrative, right?
Time I wanted to call it quits, and he said, "You don't even own the rights to your trademark. I own you. I own Latoya forever."
He actually addresses this in his live. He said already it's a public trademark thingy. He doesn't own it. So there's nothing he can use that to own her with. He doesn't own it. So I don't know about if you guys can comment upon that. But he did stress about the fact that he doesn't own the trademark. So, and you can check it on online as well, he said. So it will let you know who the owner is. So if that's the case and he doesn't own it, that's it, you're moving mad. You're moving very, very, very mad right now. You understand? Clip. I want to also talk about, obviously, sorry about that, we went off for a second. I want to talk also about the fact that potential rape that potentially could have happened as well. It's about 23 minutes in. Like, this it gets deep, yo. It gets deep. It gets deep. Like, honestly, it gets deep. Let's just play.
He stepped up as a father, you know. Normally he would be in his office, you know, working away, and I would always be like hands-on with the kids, you know, cooking, cleaning, playing with the kids, creating content, you know, wearing all these hats in my life. And when I wanted to pull the plug, and that's when he stepped up as a father, and that's when I ended up pregnant again. So I believe that he you know, purposely got me pregnant.
Do you think that he forgave you because he truly loved you, or because he was trying to benefit from your business?
I think that we built a mini empire together, you know. Everybody looked up to us at the time. We were like the hottest couple, and I feel like at that point, yes, he did have a lot to lose.
Sis, you both had a lot to lose. You forget. See, this is, you know, like how they do men dirty. Like they say they do women go. Like, Amazon is not Amazon without his wife, right? At the beginning. So irrespective of whether you started the idea or not, your wife was involved, right? Same here. Latoya actually put in the beginning of her video how without him, she actually sought him out because he was an analytical person and she was more of the free-flowing person, and she saw how he could help her. So when you're talking about using people, your thought was on that too. Like, no beef. It's business, right? But he's not. Obviously, to say that obviously he wants to stay because of your and notice how the wording is your business. Where is your? I thought it was our legacy that we're talking about here. I thought we were talking about our legacy. That's gone out the window, hasn't it? It's gone out the window because it's never about our legacy. The mask has slipped off again. It's about my thing. It's about me. And sorry, I was meant to play another clip. The other clip that was meant to bring that one. I'll bring up the other clip. So apologies. That will bring about the rape particular situation. Sorry, I do apologize, guys. I thought it was the clip, but no.
That people try to attack gay.
Here it is.
Had a gay history, you know? What does that even matter? We live in 2021, and at the end of the day, that's something that...
Come on. Apologies, guys.
So, because I didn't agree to a few of the terms in the settlement, he again threatened to go after my businesses if I didn't sign off on the proposal that he presented to my attorney. You know, everything I've built, you know, everything I've...
Hold on, I've got the wrong clip, guys. I've got the wrong clip. I need to find the notes on why the clip is, because that was not the clip. Apologies. But she actually says, obviously, she felt like they got drunk. And it was like, yes, I've got the clip now. Apologies, I've got the clip now. Yeah, I've got the clip now. Apologies, guys. Let's go a bit further on. Let's go over there. Here we go.
Me, because he did not put in any legwork to help me get these campaigns at all. I have a new management team. And so I was kind of fearful when he said that, because things that he says does...
Whoa, wrong clip. My gosh, I'm all over the shop, guys. I'm all over the shop.
We're trying to leave.
Here it is. Yes, here it is. Let's go.
Last pregnancy, how did you end up pregnant when you were trying to leave?
Well, that's exactly it. I was trying to leave and I ended up pregnant. He knows my weakness is alcohol, and we got extremely drunk with our friends. I completely blacked out, and I woke up the next morning and I didn't even know if I had sex or not at all. Like, I didn't even know if we had intercourse or not. Like, I was so gone for like 2 days. A few weeks later, Adam comes to me and he's like, I think you're pregnant. And I'm like, what? How? And he was like, well, you've been sleeping a lot. And I'm like, okay. And then he gave me a pregnancy test. He was like, take this test. And so I took the test and I gave it to him, because whenever I take pregnancy tests, I always give it to him. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the results. So I gave it to him and he was like, you're pregnant. He was kind of excited about it. He was like, well, are you ready to like go all in? Are you ready, you know, to just be one, be a family? Like, this is a sign from God that, you know, we need to just be honest and true and be together. And I was pregnant, and he again convinced me to stay. And that's when I found out that he was trying to take a woman to Cabo.
Now we need a follow-up question now after that for her to clarify what she just said. You're basically saying that he got you drunk to a point. He knew your drink. He knew your weakness was drink. So basically, he purposely got you to a place of drinking, to a place you're drunk, and you couldn't remember. And let me scoot back for you, just in case you missed it. Okay, scoot back. Let's see.
A few weeks later, everything would come to an end.
Let's go just here. Right.
So he stayed for the children.
Can you go more into depth with your last pregnancy? How did you end up pregnant
just deep
when
it.
you were trying to leave?
Well, that's exactly it. I was trying to leave and I ended up pregnant. He knows my weakness is alcohol.
Now, the moment you say he knows my weakness, you are implying that this is a premeditated move, what's about to be said next. That's rape, right? Because if you were incohesive, if you were incoherent at the point in time, and he knew that, right, and had sex with you, whilst you were unable to give your consent, married or not married, that's rape. So, right, this is not a light allegation we're making here. This is jail time, right? This is very serious now. There is no winners. There is no winners. Whoever's lying or telling the truth here, there is no winners. If Adam's telling the truth, that is a scary thing for her to want to try and play with. If she's telling the truth, that is a very scary and disgusting thing that he's also done. There is no winners in this, right? And the child as well, who's also now going to know that they could be a product of rape.
And we got extremely drunk with our friends.
Now, pause it there. We got extremely drunk with friends. Let's go on.
I completely blacked out, and I woke up the next morning and I didn't even know if I had sex or not at all. Like, I didn't even know if we had intercourse or not. Like, I was so gone for like 2 days. A few weeks later.
So now, in between that time where obviously that particular moment, do they have sex again? Because what she doesn't say in the story is, we didn't have sex after that again. Right? We don't know that. And before that as well, previously, we don't get told that they weren't having sex before that either. There is no conversation about that. We don't ever get told when they were having sex. They just suddenly have a baby. So it's like, we can't really say anything, right? We can only go on what she's kind of said, but there's no mention of before or after them having sex or not. What we do know is that close to that point, remember, close to that point, you were out here in the streets.
Adam comes to me and he's like, I think you're pregnant. And I'm like, what? How?
I'll leave it there. If it is that, obviously he did do that. Listen, like I said, there's no winners on that particular part, right? It's sickening on both sides. There's no winners on that at all. It's got messy. It's got really, really messy, really, really quick. And I would have shown you some more videos of his, but I think we'll leave that for another part 3 or 4, whatever, where we're breaking it a bit more down. But yeah, guys, stay hydrated. The streets are hot. Yeah, that's all I can say. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads. Oof, it's mad in the dunya. Appreciate you.